So Aquila is Trisled's premium racing HPV. It's now going on nearly 10 years since we built the first Aquila 1, and we're now up to Aquila 3 with countless innovations which have come over time during the development of this bike. Today's discussion is about the air vent system, which is very much a Trisled idea. It's been thrown around everybody in the shop here from day dot, and I just thought I'd give you a little update on the work that Jono's done to create the new air vent for the Aquila 3. But before we do that, I thought I'd just give you a little tour of the idea of the air vent and how it got chucked around the shop and where it actually started. So this is Ken. We normally keep him out the back and hide him because he's our composites guy and he plays with all the stinky glues and things. And but the Trisled air vent probably really started with an idea that Ken had. Ken, why don't you tell us a little bit about the very beginnings of the idea of the Trisled Aquila air vent?
Well, we needed air inside the vehicle, and the best place to put that was right through the nose. I made up a temporary nose moulding, which became production. And the defogging of the vent, the idea was to direct it along the surface of the screen, not just blast it at it with just a round circle to cover the area. So the air vent is a sheet of core flute cut, so it's basically a lot of tubes heading in the right direction. Inspired by the inflow straighteners on a wind tunnel type thing, which we'd been talking about at the time.
So the idea is to get nice, smooth, semi-laminar, straight air going right across the very surface of the windscreen so that we need very little air to get maximum defogging effect.
That's right, yeah.
Jono's probably the real workhorse of this idea. He's the one that's really put the time into it. And so I'm just going to hand it over to him and he's going to give you a little tour of the air vent and some of the current innovations of it.
As Ken said, we decided that piping the air across the surface of the screen was a good idea. So obviously we started prototyping in core flute, as we do with most good ideas. And we realised there's actually a pretty good solution to building a lightweight and flexible box. Because it's flexible and made out of core flute, it doesn't interfere with the crash characteristics of the nose cone, which is designed to crumple. We didn't want to create extra stiffness in the nose cone and transfer load into another part of the vehicle.
So we thought at that point it'd be a really good point just to highlight why we still make the vent system out of core flute and we haven't made it a moulded carbon or Kevlar part. A feature of the Aquila body is its crumple zone front nose, and we didn't want the air vent to add any unnecessary stiffness there. We actually want the nose to behave as a crash cell and absorb the energy a little bit.
The vents also evolved to use the front stagnation point inlet in the bike to cool the rider as well. But obviously, if you're using the air to cool the rider, the windscreen won't defog as effectively. So during the day, we've decided, traditionally we played with like sort of flaps that would shut the airflow off. But basically we've just come up with a vent that shuts the airflow off to the rider during the night time to clear the vent more effectively, and during the day when you typically don't need the screen to be defogged, you can open the vents and get most of the air onto the rider and also not pump air over the screen unnecessarily.
And this opening and shutting arrangement is a new innovation as part of the Aquila 3 new vent. You had something similar on the Aquila 2 vent?
Yeah, so the Aquila 2 had a flap system closer to the rider, but we obviously making the Aquila 3 smaller, we've run out of space above the wheel arch to actually bring it along the wall. So this is a more elegant solution, and using a nice 3D printed little vent, we can actually have it controllable and aimable, which we couldn't do before.
Yeah, that's really nice, and also the fact that it's going from both sides and it's an even pressure gradient the whole way through the airbox should mean that the air goes pretty well jetted at the rider.
Yes. Yep.
So there you go, that's a quick wrap up of the Trisled Aquila 3 air vent system. You may have noticed the glamour model in this video was this beautiful Aquila 3 in I guess what you'd call an electric orange or a super bright orange. I'm going to make a video about that next and feature that sometime in the next week or so. So please like and subscribe to the channel. Feel free to leave comments. I'll do my best to respond to them. Get involved in our socials if you want to ask further questions as well. And tell your friends about us. Cheers!